Hey people of the internet, welcome back to a Sprinter's blog. Now today guys, I'm going to be talking about on the topic of winter training. Now winter training is very much important for athletes at this time of the year, and it honestly sets us up for the next few months for our winter and outdoor seasons. So it's very important to talk about, it's very important to keep on track of. No pun intended. So winter training is really important to get the grasp of, to really be able to train hard and continue to train hard throughout this whole period, because these next 4 months will dictate how well you do in the indoor and outdoor season. Winter training, I think, is probably the hardest part of being an athlete for a sprinter or any athletics event in general. It's tough, it's sometimes lonely, it's very cold, shall I say. So hopefully these rules can help you guys and guide you to some sort of consistency in the next few months. So this is why I'm creating the video now, because I want to share my 3 rules that I'm going to be sticking by this season, and hopefully you guys can take a few things out of it and apply it to your own winter training scenarios. And all I want you guys to do is continue to train hard, keep grinding, and it will pay off in the future. So let's get into it. Rule number 1, complete every session that you get from your coach. There should be a training regime, there should be a training schedule that your coach has set out for you, so you can have a look at that. And I believe you should complete every session you can, turn up to every session you can, and try and do everything that it says to do. Sometimes it's hard to complete these sessions because we haven't adapted yet to the training volume or the new ways of winter training, so you need to have constant communication with the coach. If you don't, then it's going to be hard for you, you're not going to recover well, you might have an increase of injury, so you need to have all these communication points with your coach, constantly talking about what's difficult, what's easy, what you need to do, what needs to be adjusted to your abilities. There's no point of jumping to the hardest session of winter training in the first week of it. Winter training is all about consistency. Consistency is key, guys. You need to be able to slowly ramp up the progress, ramp up the speed, the power, the strength throughout this whole period. There is literally no point of jumping from the hardest session in winter training in the first week. The whole point is about consistency in winter training. So if the training volume is too high, if it's too difficult, if it's too much for you, if you've jumped too quickly to new things, you need to communicate with your coach, decrease it. Because if you don't, then you won't recover. Too much training volume will really make you fatigued, so it'll be harder to complete the next session. And you have a higher chance of getting a sprain or a strain in your muscles, and you don't want that at the start of the season. So make sure you communicate with your coach, try and do all the sessions, adjust it to your abilities, and complete everything you need to do. Rule number 2, look after yourself. This is a very broad term, but it's probably the most important at this period of time, and just in general anyway. A lot of people neglect how important looking after yourself is. It's probably the most looked over thing to recovery, and there's a few certain points that need to be made to make sure that you are looking after yourself and that you are recovering and making sure you're doing the right things in the process. Everyone can train when they need to on the track, in the gym, but no one really remembers how they need to train when they're at home as well. The first point on this is nutrition. You guys need to make sure you're eating enough every day. There's this thing called energy expenditure, and I won't get into it too much, that's what I study, just saying. And it's all about eating the same amount of calories a day compared to how much exercise you do a day. The energy input that you put in and the energy requirement that you need needs to be balanced, okay guys? So you need to be able to balance it out, eat the same amount that you're also working out as well. The next thing I'm going to talk about is probably the number 1 most important thing after exercise, and honestly it's changed my diet and how I eat as well. It's called the golden rule. The golden rule states to eat protein and carbohydrates in the 1 hour after exercise. So you need the carbohydrates eaten, so probably some simple carbohydrates, so sugary things, straight after, so then you can actually start the process of the protein ingestion after you have that as well. This means that the carbohydrates will start the process earlier because you're giving your body energy, and after you ingest the protein afterwards, it's going to then speed up the recovery rate, and protein takes a long time to actually go through the body and go to the muscles and rebuild. So starting that process as early as you can is probably the most important thing straight after exercise. So please guys, eat simple carbohydrates, have your protein afterwards in that 1 hour after exercise. Lastly, on the topic of nutrition, you need to be able to eat the right things. Now, everyone has different measurements of how much protein, carbohydrates, fats, all these things that they need in their diets. Well, that's why I use the app MyFitnessPal. Not sponsored, by the way, but you could sponsor me if you're watching the video. MyFitnessPal is free, and as long as you input your age, how much you weigh, all these other requirements like how much exercise you do in a day, all these things, it will calculate kind of how much protein, carbohydrates, fats, all these things you need to be eating every day and how much of them. And it will kind of give you a reference to how much you needed that day. So at the moment, being at uni, I'm trying to still work out how many carbs I need each day, depending on what day I have and what I gotta do. So it's able to highlight where I'm kind of lacking in the carbs or protein each day to make sure that I can actually hit my goals, which makes sure I maintain my weight. By the way, I'm trying to gain weight, so it's like slowly increasing weight. Anyway, not to mention I'm also taking supplements for my diet. So at the moment I'm taking creatine monohydrate, also taking protein with my protein powder. I'm also taking some vitamins, so I have vitamin D because I'm inside a lot, not getting enough sunlight, so I need to make sure that I'm not deficient in those. And another good one to recommend is omega-3, making sure you get your fish oils, which I believe I get enough in anyway. It stinks. But yeah, look into these things, look into what you're probably lacking in each day and see if you can eat enough of it in that day, or if you need some supplements. They're always good to look into. Focus on websites that are notorious for testing, because you don't want to go to Amazon and buy some random protein powder. Just make sure you're getting it from a proper site and make sure that they're the right things that you need. Guys, please drink plenty of water. You need to get at least 2 to 2.5 liters a day, so please keep that hydration up. Same with the diet on the side. Water and eating the right things is so important, so please don't forget about water. And lastly, on the subsection of looking after yourself, sleep. It's definitely the most slept on thing. Again, no pun intended. But guys, sleep is probably the #1 best recovery. There's obviously other methods, like you could be in the sauna, you can have cold baths, hot baths. That's really good as well. But if you're not getting enough sleep each night, there's no point in doing that thing. If you need to focus on one thing, sleep is the main thing. Literally, eating right and sleep will recover the best. They're the best methods of recovery there is. These saunas, these cold baths that you see these influencers do, they're not going to help you that much. They're going to help you a little bit short term. And as long as you keep doing them, I mean, yeah, it's going to help you long term. But guys, long term is literally diet and sleep. You always do those things. You need those things day to day just to live. You don't need the sauna day to day just to live, just so you know. Not only do you need to focus on sleep, you need to focus on the routine of sleep. You need to be going to bed at the right times and waking up at the right times. As long as you are consistently, for example, going to bed at 10 and then waking up at 6 or 7, maybe getting a little bit more hours like that, then that is better than having a complex schedule of sometimes you go to bed at 11, sometimes you wake up at 11, and then the next day you gotta be in bed by 9 and wake up at 6. You need to have consistency. Even if you don't need to wake up early on that day, it's really good to get into that habit and that routine, especially when it comes to comp season. They're all in the morning. As long as you can have a good schedule, waking up in the morning, feeling energized, that is the main thing. Also, under looking after yourself in terms of sleep and recovery, stretching. You need to be stretching, guys. I stretch every night before bed. I have my routine to go through all the muscles that I need to. Honestly, it helps me. I don't see why people don't do it before bed. You feel really good afterwards, and honestly, I get such deep sleeps, and oh my gosh, I feel great in the morning. I can't lie. Especially my 6 a.m. wake ups. It goes a long way. So please stretch. You can meditate if you need to help you fall asleep. Meditation is also good. I don't do it that often, but in terms of if I'm feeling stressed or I'm feeling that it's a bit difficult to fall asleep that night, put on some meditation, some sleep meditation, control your breathing, and slowly drift to sleep. Rule number 3, listen to your coach. I can't stress this enough. It's really important you and your coach have that communication and have that trust. You need to trust in your coach that the program they've made for you is going to progress you at the end of it. As long as you two can meet in the middle of you are doing the right things at home and on the track, and they're still communicating with you, making sure that you're doing the right volume and the right sessions, it will go a long way for you. So please guys, listen to your coach, trust them, trust the process, and get on with it. So guys, those are my 3 rules. I will say winter training is difficult. Honestly, please complete every session. You have to. There's no cheating yourself in this. Like honestly, just because, oh, I'm achy or oh, it's difficult. I don't care. Winter training doesn't care. Like, you've got to do it. Like, do you want to be fast or not? Come on now. Honestly, if you don't do it, you're not going to be fast. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in everything you can when you can. You can't think about it then when you're at the race, being like, oh, I should have put in more. Now is the time to put in more. What are you doing? Do it. It's what I always say. Short-term inconvenience for long-term success. It's how it goes, especially with athletics. Short-term inconvenience is you doing winter training and putting in all effort for 3 months straight for a long-term success on the outdoor season. That's when all the dogs come out. That's when all of the fast people come out and actually show how much they put in and all their passion, and it pays off. It always pays off. If you do all the rules that I say, it will go a long way. Anyway, guys, got very passionate, but that's how it should be, guys. You need to be passionate. You need to keep on doing these things. Be consistent. You can't do all the training in one day and rest for the rest. Every day, keep training, keep doing what you need to do. Look after yourself. Talk to your coach, communicate, listen to them, trust them. And please, ask a lot of questions to your coach. Ask why you're doing this. Ask why you're doing these exercises, how it's going to benefit you in the future. And that leads you to trust your coach more. So please, keep curious. Keep asking all these questions and keep doing what you're doing. Please, don't stop. Be consistent. Do what you gotta do. Anyway, that has been me, guys. Thank you all for listening. If you've enjoyed this video or if it's helped you, then please hit that like button and subscribe for more. I post every 2 weeks on a Wednesday, so you should get the routine by now. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.